A little bit nervous. Kind of grown attached to this thing. Dad joke, sorry. Just getting ready to go in to Steve, our barber, and do some transformation to the old beard. So, all right, today we are at Steve's Barber Studio. This is kind of the first video project like this that we've done, so it's pretty exciting. And what we're doing here is actually a follow-up to a blog that I wrote back in mid-February, where I was kind of talking about where your neckline sits for your beard and what effect that has on like the fullness and the appearance of it. So I've been growing it out since that time. Absolutely no shaving on the neck. I can definitely tell a difference. I don't know, Steve knows my beard pretty well, so he can probably tell a difference as well. But definitely where it used to be, you know, a little bit more sleeker, it's definitely filled out more. I can tell a difference. So, and to introduce Steve, he's been my barber for several years now. He helps us out actually at the Tomball Farmers Market, where you can find us on Saturday mornings. And Steve, you just want to tell us a little bit, where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm here in the Vintage Park area. It's right off of 249 in Louetta. Chad came to me and told me about the Beck & Company. I was really excited because I used the product actually like real time in the shop, and I got really good feedback, and the fragrances were really awesome. And yeah, I go to the market once a month on a Saturday, and it's been really cool just seeing like a lot of different kinds of beards and a lot of ways that guys are using the products, and it's just been a really great time to really like get really hands-on with the stuff.
Yeah, and if you want to kind of get a sneak peek at some of the things that we're working on or developing, usually Steve gets first dibs on that kind of stuff, just to give us his feedback. Obviously he sees a lot of beards and a lot of guys on a daily basis, so he's kind of been a bit of a testing ground for us. Really instrumental in fine-tuning some of our products. So big thanks to Steven for everything that he's done to help us out. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do a two-stage neck edge up. Been doing no trimming whatsoever. So what we're going to do is go underneath, and you can kind of see it's just very natural. So we're going to come probably just right about below the Adam's apple, and then we're going to see what kind of an effect that has on the fullness. And then we're going to come up probably just right above the Adam's apple. So we're going to be taking out a good amount of undergrowth. Then we're going to see what that kind of does to the shape. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a bit of a cleanup today as well. So probably going to lose about an inch, maybe an inch and a half of beard today. So should be a pretty big difference from now until our after shot. So stay tuned. It's going to be fun.
All right, Chad, I'm gonna lay you back. So let's take a look at the beard. Now, generally what I like to see is where the neckline's already established, and based on like, I don't know, based on the goal shape is kind of where we like to see where the neck is. So a lot of guys will take the neckline up way too high, and what that does is really like cut down on volume and density of the beard. So what Chad's been able to do is grow this out to kind of fill this in underneath, and what gives it the appearance of just a big gnarly beard. So what I'm gonna do, Chad, is take it up right at your natural neckline right here and kind of take off the corners, and we'll see what that does. All right, buddy?
Yeah, so that's where guys are really going to be dealing with like beard transparency issues, right? When they don't have that undergrowth to support.
Yeah, and a lot of guys think that they really honestly can't grow a beard because they've never allowed the neck to kind of fill in. And so they won't even try because they think they just don't have the density and the growth to be able to pull off a beard. And it's funny because when you see a lot of guys beards when they start off are actually a lot of times they're really tacky. So it just takes some time. But I like that we're doing this just to kind of see some differences. Since what we're doing is going to trim it down anyway. Now, how long did it take you to grow this neck hair out?
So I started probably about a week after writing that blog. I kind of got the idea to do this. So I would say it's probably been about 3 full months.
Okay.
And I mean, of course, I've been trying to be as regimented as possible in doing my night treatment with my oil to try to speed the growth as much as I can.
Okay. A lot of I don't want to say complaints or concerns of a lot of customers who don't use oil. What I hear is like they don't like their beard feeling greasy and that oily feeling, you know. But something I do tell them that I've noticed is that, especially with the Beck & Co oils, is that it absorbs pretty quickly and it doesn't really leave that kind of like oily residue on top of the hair.
Yeah, definitely.
We're almost done here with the first pass. All right, let's take a look. All right. Now, at first glance, we're not seeing a whole lot of difference, but we know that he's lost some sort of little bit of volume on the corner.
Let me grab this very nice buffalo bone comb you have here. Yeah, it still has a lot of volume for sure, but I can tell more right here. I guess where it grows a little bit lower, right, for sure. I mean, also when I started growing up my neck, I also started to let kind of this stuff on the sides grow out, which I normally will kind of keep tight for the line on the back of my beard. But yeah, not a huge difference, but I can tell. I guess it's my beard, but yeah, next step will definitely be the big one.
Okay, let's go. Now, since you've been growing your beard out, are you liking the way it kind of like sits on, like, shapes your face, or the shape overall?
Yeah, I mean, I actually started growing my beard out in, I think the first time I came and saw you and we started to kind of shape it for growing it out was like April, I think, of 2019. So it's 2020. So we're about a year into growing out the beard, and every time I kind of think, well, a little bit longer and that'll probably be good, I kind of let it go a little bit longer again. But I think everybody's got the right length and the right look for their face shape, and I think I've determined where that is for me. I think a little bit shorter than it is right now is where I like to kind of live, so to speak.
Oh yeah, I can already tell this is going to be a big difference. So we're almost done cutting off all of this neck growth that you spent so much time.
I was just thinking, I feel like I raised, like, I don't want to say kids. We were like, raised the pet for 3 months or something and cared for it and loved it, and now I'm just letting it go.
Well, I won't tell your son that you view him the same as your beard hair, but all right. And you can tell since the clipper or razor hasn't been on this in a few months, it's a little sensitive, but I'm gonna get a shot of this. Let's check it out.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It even feels, you know, I can tell from underneath.
Right. It feels weaker. It feels like just,
Yeah.
especially on the ends here and the corners.
Yeah, you can kind of really see now a little bit more transparency there,
Right.
for sure. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to give it a trim up for sure. But that was one of the kind of the things, like as I was letting it grow out, be like, you know, this stage about 2-3 weeks in where it actually started to push up against, you know, my beard that was already there and established. And so I could tell when it was really starting to come in and starting to contribute. It was really kind of an interesting feeling. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and you can tell, like, even on the corners here, just how much like the neck hair and this undergrowth supports the beard in the front. Now, Chad, you have a huge beard to begin with, right? So some people are thinking like, well, he still has a huge, massive beard, but just being able to tell, like, especially on the corners here, that there's nothing to like fall back on. A lot of guys would stop short of growing it out because they know it's kind of thin, you know. And so let's go ahead and trim it back, I guess. We're gonna take a good 1.5 inches, maybe a little more on the sides here, but we're gonna definitely give it a good shape.
Awesome.
Okay?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. All right, so since I've established a length in the front, what I'm gonna do is go ahead and remove some of the length on the sides. And just like in the hair, I'm just gonna basically marry these two, or, you know, blend them together. Now I do like to be careful on the cheeks. Guys have a lot less hair follicles on the cheeks than they do around the chin and the mustache. So I wanna keep as much volume as I can, and I'm not gonna thin it out, but I do need to establish a good length here. And so I'm going to start off with about the same amount of length I took off of the front. And right away I can already see that the beard hair is well maintained, because when I cut it, it's keeping shape and I'm not having to fight it or anything. Some guys will have like really over curly beards, and it's a little hard to get a strong, sharp line. This is why it's important to add oil or balm to your regimen every day to really like tame some of the curl and some of the flyaways and the loose hairs. All right, so. Now what I'm gonna do is just kind of knock down this corner just a little bit, and we're just gonna kind of play with it there. And then what you're gonna want to do is fade it into the hair. I kind of know how Chad likes his hair already since I take care of him every week, but what you're gonna want to do is just blend it, especially if you have some significant beard length. Make sure to not take this lower than like the ear portion here. So I'm just gonna kind of blend this out into the hair a little bit at a time. And just feather this down a little bit here. So now that we've done like the bulk work with the clippers, what I do like to go back is just refine with the shears. You always have a little bit more control with the pair of scissors in your hand. So anything I see sort of sticking out, especially around the edges and stuff, this is where we're gonna wanna really hone it in. And if you noticed, I really didn't take a whole lot of length off of the cheeks here. Even though Chad does have some curl, I know that you do style it a little bit, right, Chad?
Oh yeah.
So what does that entail when you do that?
Well, I mean, when I really want to get some hold, you know, I use our heavy hold balm. Mm-hmm. You know, especially if my beard's feeling dry, because the moisturizing and the barrier protection, along with the added hold, it's really good for flyaways and shaping. So.
Yeah, and if we do have some stubborn, just some stubborn hair, well, you know, usually what I do here in the shop, and I know you do something similar, is, you know, I'll apply some balm or some oil and just, you know, put some heat on it. Just blow it out for a few minutes or something and see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, I always make sure, like, you know, my balm goes in first into, you know, my beard when it's still, you know, damp but not wet. Mm-hmm. Make sure that it's worked in really well before I do any blow drying, just so that I've got some protection in there before I hit it with the heat.
Alright, I'm just cleaning up under the lips here. And everybody's hair growth is a little bit different in this area. So Chad has some pretty good coverage all over, and it's nothing that I want to shape out or touch really with the clippers. I just kind of want to clean it up and make sure it's not jutting out or protruding too far. So I know I do have to kind of clean up a little bit here and there. And this is just one way to really determine if a barber kind of knows what he's doing, or you can trust him if you know, he goes back and really like customizes and tailors your beard as best as you can. Alright, let's get the other side. Would you say your beard is more important than your hair, Chad?
Oh man, for me that's a toss-up.
Yeah, just as important.
Yeah, I would say they're on fairly equal footing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I get it, because I spent probably 2-3 years when we first moved to Houston, you know, trying to find a barber that I could, you know, not have to stress out every time I got in the chair. Right. So, man, I was very happy when our paths crossed. Now, I know we've done a few things with the mustache, but I think right now we're keeping it trim, right? Pretty tight, yeah.
Okay. Now, there's really no rules when it comes to mustache and beard. You know, Chad's opted to keep it on the trimmer side and just keep it off the lip. I mean, I've seen him have the big full-on, you know, almost a walrus mustache. And but this is just clean and tidy. So what I'm gonna do is just make sure it's evened out. I'm not really gonna take a whole lot of length off. Yeah, and if you notice with the clippers, I'm like just picking a good length and actually going with the grain, and this is just gonna, as you kind of rake it across, just take a little bit of the hairs that are poking out, but still leave some bulk there. let's take care of your neck and your cheeks, and you're good to go. Now I know that when we establish the cheek line here, we're not going to go super low. We want to keep it as natural as possible. You know, and a lot of guys are wondering, well, how am I going to get a sharp line? I do know there are some razors that have a single blade, or if you can get even a traditional safety razor that uses a double-sided single blade that has a guard built in. It does help you get a little bit of a sharper cheek line. So the worst thing you can do is just bring it down too low, and then you're having to regrow it out a little bit. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, Chad, is go ahead and wet the beard a little bit here. Now that we put a hot towel over it, just kind of messed it up a little bit. So I'm going to put the beard, and I'm going to apply a little bit of this white gold beard balm, and let's blow it out just a little bit. And this is just going to add a little moisture to the beard, so when we apply heat, lessens the chance of any heat damage or anything like that directly to the beard hair. It kind of gives us a little bit of product to give us some structure. Yeah, and this part actually kind of surprises some folks. They just think that, you know, you get a beard trim and your beard's gonna look the same way every day, every morning you wake up. But it takes a little work. You know, just as if you were trying to achieve a hairstyle on your head, you need product, you need to style it, you need to have some sort of routine. The same thing goes for the beard. So.
Yeah, I mean, to that end, I would just say, you know, getting into a routine is the biggest thing. You know, finding out what works for your beard and just sticking with it.
So after we do some styling, more often than not, you're gonna find little places where you're gonna have to refine a little bit. And I'm actually gonna finish doing that with Chad sitting up, so I can kind of get a good view. Now, without taking too much length off of the sides, we've been able to establish a tapered look. So a lot of guys think we're gonna have to go like super short to take down, but you know, since the cheeks are thinner, I don't want to do that. So with product, with styling, we've been able to really like tame it quite a bit and give it a good shake without losing some volume. All right, Chad, you ready to see it?
I'm ready. Oh yeah. Yeah, it looks great. That's really, I think, where the shape that I kind of feel the best with. I've got a very short neck, so while I enjoy the extra length, I do find that when I have to wear collared shirts and things like that, that because of the length of my neck, it can sit on my shoulders. So, guys that have got a longer neck can definitely wear it longer with kind of less of those issues. But for me and the different things that I've got to work around, this is kind of where I feel very comfortable.
Yeah, and that's going to be just through experimentation, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that this has been helpful. I hope it's been informational to help, kind of see what difference you can make in your beard just by simply looking at the neckline and where you're edging up to, where you're trimming. Big thanks to Steve. We've been talking about this, for the past few months since I started. So this is something that we've kind of had in mind for a while. So. Yeah, thank you, Steve.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate it. If you guys are in the Houston area, no joke, look up Steve. Can you remind me what your website is?
StevesBarberStudio.com.
There you go. It's that easy. So yeah, check out Steve, and you can look this good.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so we just wrapped up at Steve's Barber Studio, did the whole neckline experiment. So hopefully you can, see we've made a big difference today, and just seeing the difference that it makes, in where you have that growth coming down to. If you're suffering with beard density and you've got that transparency, and you haven't let your neck come down, just let it grow, and that will really help to support, the bulk of your beard. So anyways, we love doing stuff like this, kind of cool, interesting things. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll let you know what we come up with next.